let's introduce the real stars of tonight, the Benchers. So hopefully you all had a chance to chat with some of these founders at our tabling session earlier. But before we dive into pitches, let's take a moment to watch a brief video that captures some of our founders' journeys and experiences over the course of the semester. So enjoy.
I'm one of the co-founders.
I'm the other co-founder.
And we're a health tech, we're a med tech startup to provide AI-driven solutions for dystonia care.
Hello, my name is Alejandro. This is my co-founder, Roberto Mazariegos, and we're innovating in the mezcal industry, in the alcoholic beverage industry, to transition our product into a non-alcoholic beverage.
Hi, my name is Joseph Pellucci, and I'm working on Accelerate, a SaaS company working to provide landscapers with automated virtual quotes.
I'm Arna. I'm Raj. We're building Playmate. It's going to be a restaurant analytics platform for small businesses.
I'm Andrew, and I'm working on Claro. It's a website to help you find insurance agents with social proof online.
My name is Troy. I'm working on a startup called Graceweb, which aims to bridge the gap between outdated school technology and students who need more features in an academically competitive environment.
I'm on camera, and I'm Vladi, and we're co-founders of Joda. At Joda, we're building a smart seat cover called 4C, where you can track your posture as you're sitting and working throughout the day, and alert you to fix your posture when you're not paying any attention to it.
I'm Marja Marfan. I have founded Leaf Guardian, a preventative solution for pressure injuries, which use thermal imaging and thermal mapping to scan the whole body.
The biggest thing I learned from HSC is definitely the business terminology. I'm more of the healthcare side of things, so it's definitely good to learn a lot for business and integrate into that.
I feel like I've learned a lot more about how to hone down the business model and figuring out like the total addressable market and everything like that.
Well, we've learned so much. We've learned all the way to doing marketing, interviews, validation, but coming with people outside. You probably like be at best outside of the street talking with people.
I would say our largest takeaway from HSC has been how to position our product amongst competitors.
I think through my time at HSC, the biggest takeaway I've gotten is that you want to build what your customers want, not what you think your customers want. It's important to talk to your customers and validate your product.
There's a really learn from the startups and see the ones that makes that fine round. You get to observe the pitch decks and the business strategies and whatnot that make it work and get there. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is learning how to construct your business pitch. I know what metrics are important to show potential investors because I came in knowing most of the software side, and now I'm really combining those two, which is great because I'm a combined maker of six business.
The biggest takeaway for us was how deeply you really have to dive into the problem with the customers and get the real answers out of them, because by the end of the day, either they tell you what they want or they won't spend the money.
And then on top of that, it's doing the proper market analysis and being honest with yourself. Going into it, you daydreaming a lot, but it's a reality check when you join HSC, but that was actually
helped us build a much stronger case for our pitch and our view of the market moving forward.
Our solutions eventually is for people, and I need to have my language simplified so it could be understandable and easy to grasp with wider audience. Simplifying the solution for myself has been giving me a more advantage to have a deeper look in the whole venture system.
Hopefully you can expect us done with going into our clinical trials and hopefully having the funding to go on and expand into the hospitals.
Well, since we're already having business practices closely with people in Oaxaca, and we are already collaborating with different companies here in the United States to enhance the process of the de-alcoholization, we're expecting to give the product out to the customers in less than 12 months. So after demo day, we are working hard to bring this to life as soon as possible.
not long after Demo Day. You can expect to see our product live online and hopefully have some users.
Yeah, so we're working with a number of restaurants in the Boston area, so right around here. And you can expect to see us in these restaurants in the coming days.
Our rapid growth. I'm excited to start onboarding agents really quickly and expanding some key markets. Yeah, so I think Graceweb's going to be really expanding in the coming months. We're going to put some of the product funding, hopefully, into marketing, and we're going to also put a lot of R&D time into expanding outside of our current market in New Jersey, because we know there's a lot of students who need what we have to offer.
So after Demo Day, we were planning to
partnerships and collaborations, especially with Gitam Medical School, and hopefully we will come back with good news.
So without further ado, let's dive into pitches.
So to start off the night, I'd like to welcome Aurora Health Tech, who are redefining how we approach support and care for individuals with cerebral palsy.
Hi guys, how are we doing? Okay, so I want to start with our pitch talking about Jaden. Cute, right? Well, Jaden's my nephew, and he's affected by cerebral palsy, which is the most common lifelong motor disability as soon as a child comes out of the womb. Now, a main symptom of this is dystonia, which is characterized by painful muscle rigidity, and Jaden had to spend time in the hospital for over 6 months due to this. And it was really devastating as one of his providers, seeing his mother constantly in caregiver burnout and the physicians trying to find a definitive treatment. And so I knew from the situation that he's not the first to deal with this, and he will not be the last. Now, 18 million people worldwide live with cerebral palsy, and over 764,000 of them live in the United States alone. And up to 86% experience a form of dystonia that is affecting their everyday to-day mobility. And so we held over 20 interviews and found that from caregivers, physicians, and parents alike, that the overall altering hindrance towards dystonic management is that it's unpredictable. The cause is unknown, and it's highly underrepresented in the market or research, so nobody's taken that first innovative step. And that's why Aurora Health Tech is here, to reapproach how we are approaching dystonic care. And so our solution is an AI-driven, non-invasive wearable device in the form of a sleeve that can alert caregivers up to 1 hour in advance to predict a dystonic attack and classify its severity so that caregivers can have that crucial interval of time to assist in intervention before an episode escalates. Now we're looking at integrating bioimpedance, EMG sensors, and inertia sensors to really look at this interval data, process it through a deep neural network, and then look at the key parameters that signal an impending attack. And so, how's this device going to work? Well, after the caregiver and the physician assess the dystonic frequency, it will be prescribed to the patient. Then it will be where on the area of focus, which would be like the upper limbs or lower extremities. And then it will alert the caregiver throughout the day of dystonic attacks so that the caregiver can get that appropriate intervention. And then the physicians also get that real-time crucial data to change any interventions needed throughout a patient's lifetime. Now, Avi will talk about the business plan.
Thank you, Danielle. So our device is priced at a $1,000 one-time purchase with a monthly subscription of $20, which would entail analytical data streams and customized support system for caregivers. The way we want to generate revenue is actually by leveraging existing insurances and hospital billing codes so we can streamline that prescription and adoption process. As Danielle mentioned, there's around 764,000 patients with cerebral palsy in the United States. But according to the NIH, 80% of them are looking for some sort of alert or predictive management. So we as Aurora Health Tech, if we can hold down at least 2% of that market, we can have a $12.2 million SON, but sky's the limit for us. So cerebral palsy is actually leading in cost for stats treatments. So let's see how that looks. Imagine spending $84,000 a year. That's almost equivalent to a year's worth of tuition at Northeastern, just to barely provide. Now, for families affected, that's the harsh reality, and it doesn't have to be this way. Through our research, we believe we can cut down costs and save families up to $30,000 a year across meds, therapy, and ER visits, but that's the most priceless thing we offer. We give families the ability to reclaim their lives and a sense of independence. Now, when we look at the market for existing solutions against our indirect and direct competitors, we notice that a lot of them seem to fall short. Whether they are invasive, reactive, or only available in clinical settings, all of them lack the real-time support that caregivers really need, but we're bridging that gap. For predictive capabilities, it's like having a nurse by your side 24/7, looking after you and taking care of you and giving you that proactive management that you really need. So we're not just starting from scratch. We actually have 60 patients across Boston Children's Hospital and Keystone Collaborative in a special education clinic in Massachusetts. We have 5 institutions who have voice intent to use, as we see on the screen, and a potential outlook for funding after we complete our clinical trials, and a regulatory partner who will help us through the FDA process. Now, why are we the best team? Danielle is a researcher, so she'll be heading the clinical trials. Mohan and Raghav are both experts in hardware and software design, so they're creating the prototype and AI. And I'm a business major here, so I'm handling the finances and the operations of this team. But we can't thank our partners enough. We have partnered with Dr. Srivastava from Boston Children's Hospital and Dr. Oscar Soda, a biometric analyst from Telstra Medical Center. But where are we right now? We have a current working prototype tested by preliminary data by Jaden, who is Danielle's nephew again. We have submitted our IRB approval, and we aim to finish those clinical trials by 2025 of July. And we want to submit our FDA submission by that time. From there, we want to patent our device through Northeastern, and then outreach to special education clinics, dystonia clinics in the Boston area, then expand to local hospitals, and then to other neuromuscular conditions like Huntington's or Parkinson's disease, because cerebral palsy isn't the only disease affected by dystonia. But to make all that happen, we need the help of you guys today. With demo this funding, we can really amp up our production, amp up our prototypes, and accelerate the timeline for clinical trials, and really give cerebral palsy patients the care that they need today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. AI seems to be the flavor of the day, so if it doesn't have AI, it doesn't fly. Why do you need AI in this? What exactly does the AI do?
Yeah, of course, so I can answer that question. So back to kind of our solutions, we have bioimpedance, inertia, and EMG readings. And so the reason that we're using these 3 in a unique combination is that it's proven through data research that these 3 have been helped in other neuromuscular conditions, not cerebral palsy specifically, but what they do is that the bioimpedance measures the muscle resistance as well as the early signs of dystonia, and then the inertia sensors predict the velocity and angular momentum of the muscles so that we can predict kind of what's going on with the muscle fibers twisting. And then also the EMG data has electrical waves that we can kind of predict between those two, between a crucial interval between 2 dystonic attacks. And all 3 of those combined together not only can detect the dystonic attacks, but also can get those like key parameters that can be helped in our predictive capabilities. So AI was the most efficient for us in terms of getting that like very precise quantitative data.
Thank you guys. Awesome presentation. I'm curious about the pilot that you all have conducted with Jaden. What kind of sort of data are you seeing? Have you all been able to build this out, or is this for something to be done after that day? The pilot with Jaden.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Have you all prototyped this device already? And if so, could you share a little bit about what you're seeing with what the results are like?
Yeah, so I can answer that question. So as we see this device, so these are the 3 sensors that we're using, as Daniel mentioned. But what we're seeing right now is with bioimpedance, the higher the resistance in ohms is correlated with higher spasticity. So at that point, we know that it's correlated to a dystonic attack. And before and after, we're looking at like 15-minute intervals to see how those numbers are changing, what's correlated with dystonia and what isn't. And that's where we're working with Dr. Oscar Soda from Tufts. He's a biometric analyst for these 3 sensors itself, and he's able to tell us what the threshold is between different severities. So basically, if you're a caretaker, you're gonna know, like, for example, if your child isn't tiered yellow, like for 15 minutes, then you likely know to advance to the red stage and you should take some action. But if it's only in the yellow stage for a minute, then you can, and it goes back down to green, you know it's not a serious attack and you don't have to take any preventive precautions at this moment. So those are the type of data that we're seeing in current trials with Jaden. And currently we've made the AI model work up to a 90% accuracy just with Jaden himself. But we obviously want to test it on those 60 other patients, and that's what we need the money for in terms of prototyping the device.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect.
So you just kind of answered my question about the next trials, prototypes. What's the rollout beyond Jaden, and what does the timeline look like in terms of getting or enough data to basically get FDA approval or at least submit?
Yeah, of course. So I can answer the clinical trials, and then Aldi can go more into kind of like after that and more of the business plan. So for the clinical trials, we're looking at Keystone Collaborative and Boston Children's that will have patients be wearing the device over a 1 month trial period, and that's when we would be collecting those key parameters. And once we have that data, we might make amendments to the clinical trial in order to collect more data, so that we can get that predictive capability in it, and then making amendments to do the predictions and see how that's working in terms of accuracy. So the good thing about the clinical trials is that that will give us our more like very reliable data that is working through a clinical setting. We have the patients that are diagnosed with this, and then also in the educational setting, we have the Keystone Collaborative with those patients that can have it at home care, so we can see what it looks like on the day-to-day. And then in terms of moving on a monitoring perspective, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so just to clarify real quick, if you're like a parent of like the caretaker themselves, when a dysonic episode happens, you're gonna have like, we have like an app ready, it's like kind of like a stopwatch. So you click the button to let us know exactly the time interval when that episode happens, and you click the end button again. So we know like for example, 7:30 to 7:50, this was a 20-minute time period when an attack happened. And we're gonna analyze the data prior and after that as well. But moving after we complete the trials of like the with the 60 patients, we hope to achieve that 95 to 97% accuracy rate. And if we hit that mark, we have the MCRA who's helping us get to that regulatory standpoint. Since our device is a class 2 device, we want to go through the subsidized route so we can have patients and caretakers realistically afford this device. And once we go through that phase, we're going to patent the device through Northeastern. We have resources here, especially in the law library. From there, we want to go into like expanding to other clinics besides Keystone Collaborative. We have other potential outlets, like I said, like the five interests, like MGH, TUS. We have these connections right here, so they want to use our device after we test it out with Keystone Collaborative and BCH. So those are going to be the hospitals, and after that, we want to expand to just Parkinson's, Huntington's disease, other areas where there's dystonia management needed, and from there, you know, we can expand to like almost anything possible, like maybe sports medicine as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Aurora Health Tech, for the great start to the show.
Next, Mizero invites you to experience the bold, authentic spirit of mezcal like never before. Let's hear it for them.
Hello everyone, my name is Alejandro Romano.
I'm Roberto Mazarios.
And today we're excited to introduce Mesero. The non-alcoholic category. Sorry. Hello everyone, my name is Alejandro Romano.
My name is Roberto Mazarios.
And today we're excited to introduce Mesero, the authentic smoky mezcal experience without the alcohol. Alcohol dominates how we socialize. It's been used as a tool that allows us to be with friends. The non-alcoholic category has helped to show that it's the glass in the hand that does the trick, not what's in the glass. The birth of Mesero is deeply personal. While training as a professional soccer player for Tigres in Monterrey, I often avoided alcohol to stay focused on my goals. One day, sitting in a cevicheria, I wanted something that complemented the freshness of my meal, something more than just sparkling water, but still aligned with my lifestyle. At the same time, my mother Renee suffered from lung cancer, which made it difficult for her to enjoy her favorite mezcal. That's when I realized the need for a mezcal experience without the health challenges. Consumers are seeking healthier, authentic alternatives to alcoholic drinks, yet the market lacks premium options that match mezcal's complexity and richness. The beverage market is rapidly expanding, with a 350% online sales increase in 2022 and a projected 9.4% CAGR in North America from 2024 to 2030. Now let's dive deeper into our market opportunity. Our market opportunity spans a $528 billion beverage market, a $1 billion market for non-alcoholic wines and spirits, and a $50 million non-alcoholic spirits market specifically. So who will choose Mesero? Our core audience is health-conscious millennials aged 25 to 40 who are no to low alcohol consumers in the United States. Next, we have sober curious Gen Z consumers aged 18 to 25, and finally, fitness enthusiasts. We're also tapping into the growing mezcal market in the United States, which is already established at 386 million. Agave also offers key health benefits. It's a source of natural energy, low sugar, low calorie, gluten-free and vegan-free, and it's a prebiotic for gut health. With Oaxaca producing over 90% of the world's mezcal, each of our bottles will capture the unique character of this one-of-a-kind Mexican spirit. Our launching. While partnership with Mezcal Squish serves to bring traditional mezcal crafted the same authentic way, where their logistics team ensures to bring the mezcal liquid in barrels all the way from Oaxaca into Napa Valley, where then Bev Zero helps us reduce that alcohol volume to 0.5%. So how do we take out the alcohol? The innovative vacuum technology that Bev Zero uses crafts down the alcohol while preserving that aroma, taste, and flavor that mezcal offers to real alcohol consumers. Where do we stand apart? Mesero outshines its competitors, such as Almare, Cut the Bug, Monday Zero, Ritual Zero, through our real agave-based flavors, health benefits, and authenticity in the product. These are a bit of our estimates. Our landed cost at $18 to $25 and a retail price estimation at $45. With our partnership, we're gonna arrive to our customers through, especially, most importantly, Mezcal Squish, with 50 plus years of experience in mezcal producing, and legal permits across Latin America, especially in the United States, which elevates our potential growth. Jaime Munguia, a Reno Mexican boxer, and a close family friend, who ties perfectly to our brand values, and will help us reach that fitness enthusiast, health-conscious consumer. With established retail chains partnerships and a future partnership with Marriott, we're primed to boost hospitality sales.
We'll bring brand awareness via social media, pop-ups, wellness events, and conferences. We will obviously want to have direct contact with health-conscious consumers before we start to retail. 90% of mocktail users are actually interested in another alcohol experience using certain mocktail, and an average of 40 mocktails are ordered weekly at different restaurants. Mesero is backed by a team of innovators and specialists. Alejandro Romano, founder of Mesero, with expertise in product and business development, myself with years of marketing experience and leading our brand's growth, and Felix Monterosa, founder of Mezcal Squish, with over 50 years of experience in the mezcal production business. We're making progress currently focusing on the licensing and registration of the brand with the help of legal experts, then focusing on the liquid tasting with Bev Zero, as I said before, and lastly, focusing on the branding and design of the brand is currently under development. For our next steps, our main priority is analyzing the liquid formulation so we can achieve the best taste and aroma as alcoholic mezcal. Then, bottling samples and managing our supply chain, and lastly, by October, we expect to have our first production batch ready for launch. Mezero's mission is simple: a healthy, non-alcoholic mezcal that elevates and maintains its unique, authentic distillation and flavor. We're here to elevate mezcal.
Blending tradition with flavor.
Wellness.
Salud.
I think you can relax now. You might want to have a glass of Mesero just to get you going, right? So I want to ask about your competitors. It looks a little bit too good to be true. Convince me that you're that good.
So currently, can go to the company. In the mezcal market, for non-alcoholic spirits, there's currently some competitors out there that currently do non-alcoholic mezcal. The thing is that they're doing it in the United States. They're not doing it directly from Oaxaca, where in the world, the only place that you can make mezcal is in Oaxaca, Mexico. That's the only place in the world you can do it. These competitors add artificial flavors. They produce agave plants here, but it's not the same authentic process. We bring authenticity. That's the added value that we bring to the table. Coming from Oaxaca, and from the mezcal that we are selling to Napa Valley in barrels, we're going to eliminate the alcohol from there, separate it, and keep it from the same liquid. Have an authentic mezcal coming from Oaxaca.
To add on to that, thank you for the question. Almave is our main competitor. Almave is backed by a team of also innovators, which is backed by competitors that have innovated in the industry for over 20 years and have brought into life many products in the mezcal industry and tequila industry in the alcoholic category and non-alcoholic category. But no, there's no competitor out there yet doing the process and bringing to life that alcoholic mezcal with that 40%, 35 to 40% alcoholic volume, and reducing through our innovation technology that we're enhancing with Bev Zero, breaking it down to 0.5%, which is already considered non-alcoholic. So we're preserving that aroma complexity, not just for the health-conscious consumers, but also for the mezcal fans. Because, for example, I'm a mezcal fan, and sometimes when I go out to dinner, and I drink mezcal sometimes throughout the week, I want to feel focused for the next day at university or at a meeting. So I'd rather have that immersive experience when I'm having a gastronomic experience with versatile drinks than a sugary soda or a juice. So I think that's a competitive edge.
Thank you very much for the presentation. So I'm going to ask a quick follow-up on this one. So there's competitors who are currently bottling in the US, as I understand correctly. So talk to me about consumers. Like, what percentage of them want this to come from Oaxaca versus what percent, and are willing to pay like the extra for goods coming from Oaxaca versus just something that tastes like that?
I think the industry right now, I would call it a baby. It's a very on the rise industry. There are limited competitors out there. Mainly sales come from hospitality. I would say restaurants. For those people who don't drink because of health conscious reasons or religious reasons, there are many reasons out there for people not drinking. But I feel like there's a boost. As I mentioned, 300% increase in online sales in 2022, and it's projected to grow even more. So I think it's still a very young industry that's on the rise. So I think
adding to that, on our interviews that we did and surveys that we found, 43% of millennials are actually covered in the United States are the ones that are not drinking alcohol, are reducing their alcohol consumption. And in our interviews, most of them were the most promising responses. The competitors are approximately $40, but as I said before, the added value, we're coming from Oaxaca, Mexico, and the added benefits that agave plant has is also the $5 extra that we're thinking about adding. So I think if most of the millennials are not drinking alcohol for health reasons, they see added value, we definitely see a potential there.
Does that respond to the question?
My question is more along the lines of market size. So you said mezcal is $380 some odd $1 million market, but that is, I'm assuming, the actual alcoholic market. So if you take alcohol on the whole and then go to those looking for non-alcoholic but similar alternatives, what does that look like for mezcal specifically? And then if it's, or also on top of that, if it's too small, do you have plans to go beyond mezcal to kind of expand the size of that market?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, that was not a good question. That was just my thoughts, I guess. Yeah, I guess my question is, where do you plan to expand given this market is a fraction of $300 million alcoholic market, and while it's growing, like where do you plan to grow beyond mezcal in the non-alcoholic market?
Thank you for the question. I would respond to that by saying that, as I said, the current non-alcoholic spirits market in the United States is valued at $50 million. And since we're not just tapping into that market, we're also tapping into the mezcal market, because not every mezcal consumer is a frequent consumer. I'm a mezcal consumer, and I would purchase the product, not because I'm the founder, but I would sometimes drink alcoholic beverages. But if you offer me an alcoholic beverage that doesn't contain the volume but mimics the actual taste, that would obviously give it more of an experience than any other drink out there, like a soda or a juice. So I feel like we're in a competitive edge, focusing on targeting the mezcal actual market currently, and that new market that I was calling it a baby and it's on the rise.
Adding to that, mezcal, out of all the alcoholic market, agave-based products are the ones that are growing the most, more than vodka, gin, etc. So we see another potential there. But agave-based products are becoming more popular around the years. Mezcal, even more than tequila, it's outpacing it to 2030. So that's another potential opportunity there, where we can capture those consumers, like Alejandro said, who don't frequently on Wednesday night want to have a drink. We can switch it up to agave-based product, but without the alcohol. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mazzetta, for an exciting pitch.
And now, Leaf Guardian will tell us how they are revolutionizing how we prevent and manage some of the most critical challenges in patient care related to pressure injuries.
Thank you, Mark and Raul. Appreciate it. So apparently, I need to use laptop for clicking, so please tolerate me for that. Okay, we are Leaf Guardian, and we are developing preventative care for pressure injuries prevention using thermal mapping technology. I have founded this company for my grandmother, so it's very close to my heart. This is a photo of my wedding day, and she's missing here because we lost her to a pressure injury just a couple of months before my wedding. And it was completely preventable. You might ask, or many of you might not be familiar, what is a pressure injury? So in people that have a weaker body, for example, if you are aging, under treatment, cancer treatment, or you have diabetic type 2, if a part of your soft tissue get under tension, it could be pressure or friction, anything. The blood flow get disrupted to that area. And due to the lack of supply of oxygen and nutrition, the cells in that area dies out, and you will remain with the ulcer that is hard even to regenerate and recover itself. And these injuries would happen even under 2 hours based on John Hopkins studies. And if it's get unattended, it goes down to the bone infection. So this is serious and lethal. In fact, it's more common than many people even would think of it. Over 2 million people in the United States develop pressure injuries on an annual basis, and mainly are elders. And 10% of the residents in nursing homes would suffer from pressure injuries. And this issue is partially tied to the lack of consistent monitoring to prevent it. So here is our patent pending solution. We are using thermography and thermal mapping the body to check for the temperature of each person. And then we would detect the areas that has drop in the temperature. You can see in the bottom right picture here, there's 2 hills and they have a different temperature pattern here. The drop in the temperature, it shows and indicates the disruption in blood flow. So we can flag that, and the caregiver could take care of the issue before it become the ulcer, before the cells die out. The another pro tip we have, we can flag the areas which has a relatively higher temperature that would indicate that underlying infection or inflammation in that area, which is so important for quality of care in patient. And on top of that, we monitor the patient's lying posture and repositioning. So we are a holistic solution for people who would not deal with a secondary disease. They can concentrate peacefully on their own. The market is considerable, especially United States. I'm going through only our sum now. Center of Medicare and Medicaid stop reimbursing for hospital-acquired pressure injuries. So if we only could target 10% of these, we would land of annual revenue of over $100 million. But this is not our only goal. We are thinking to lead to direct to consumer to help with families like my own. Looking at the competition, I just narrowed it down to these three that they are related to the wounds and pressure injuries. None of these solutions are non-current service that is available in market that provide continuous monitoring, contactless, and automated. And with the current situation that everyone knows, we have the issue of the lack of nurses. So we cannot rely on just extra trained nurse to work on the device. And especially for pressure injuries, we need the continuous monitoring. As some of the competitors here, like you can see, like Xenon, they have the embedded pressure testing into the mattress. So they only cover some part of the body that is contacted to mattress, and not necessarily this is the only cause that you will develop the injury. So you will miss in some other parts. So we cover that. The other one is Grown Metrics. And the middle, they send electric pulsation and they will detect the areas that have developed infection, which is already too late. And Wound Vision, they use thermography technology, but they are not having machine learning AI. They need trained nurses to operate on that. Secondly, they in fact wound sizing, but I put it as a competition because they are related. So for our business development plan, we have developed our MVP, but we are trying to make it more polished. And for that, we need time and resources. But you might stop at our booth today. And we use machine learning to detect the body and to say like different body parts. So we detect that, and if the area shows a drop or a spike in a temperature, we can send the notification to caregiver to care for that specific. And in down, like right down bottom, here is like one of our like samples that we trained our models over the positioning and lying posture, so we can report that also. We are planning to establish and develop our partnerships with hospitals to further acquire data and like our machine learning. And we are planning to file for FDA Class 2 medical devices by 2026. So that is here is our team. It's really a great team that I'm so lucky that I could like meet them and work with them. And we are so grateful that you listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you for a beautiful presentation. I'm so sorry for your grandmother. Why don't the other competitors address this problem holistically? How come the other competitors don't address this problem holistically?
So I cannot talk on behalf of them. So in fact, I get to understand this issue when I was looking for the devices and help that I could provide for my family. That was my initial market research. Mainly they are like contactless, and there is in fact one other competitor, I didn't put it here. They called leaf monitoring. They are based on UK. They put literally like a gyroscope. They stick it on your skin, and they only tracking if you put positions or reposition only your rotations. Maybe most of them, they don't have the comprehensive look at it. Maybe because they didn't think out of box, or maybe they didn't have the first exposure. I cannot talk about that. I myself come from a very diverse background. I have studied mechanical engineering, thermography, and fluid mechanics, biomedical engineering, civil engineering. I have worked in consulting cases and international court cases. And later, because of this issue, I quit my job. I came to study MBA to learn how to do business to develop this. So I developed it maybe being out of box. And just being sometimes trained in some segment, it makes you blind to some aspects. And maybe I'm fortunate and I could think out of box because I have not been trained to that specific environment.
Thank you.
I have a bit of a piggyback off that one. So my question was similar, and I was curious why Wound Vision.
Could you please talk about? Thank you.
Yeah, so mine was about the competition as well, and I wanted to know about Wound Vision and basically why they're unable to do some of the soft tissue monitoring and AI, and / or your plan to do it first and generate a better data set to kind of win the market there.
Sure. So for Wound Vision, I have studied them, their proposals, even from University of Southern California and all of that. They are very focused on wound measurement. They have their own clinic in Illinois, and they are selling their service to some limited hospitals. As there's like you can see, there is literally the kind of system like an Apple PC, and it needs two trainers. One is like checking the areas, and then the other one just plugging it in. So they have their revenue and they are well established in like healing and wound sizing. But I put it here, so if by any chance they change their idea and are just like, okay, we want to work on the prevention, we would just have them here. But they don't do AI and machine learning. I'm not them to see why they didn't make a decision to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Guardian.
All right, and now on to Accelerate, who's making landscaping projects faster, easier, and more precise than ever.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. We're super excited to tell you about Accelerate. My name is Sam.
My name is Liam.
My name's Joe.
And today we're here to tell you about Accelerate, it says there on the shirt, our software solution for automating estimates for landscapers. So if you've ever tried to get a landscaping estimate before, you know the process can be extremely frustrating. You likely have to make a phone call to schedule an in-person estimate. It can take a lot of time. Maybe there's a language barrier. Maybe you have to think about things like waiting all day at your house for them to come and actually do the estimate. And it's a super aggravating process. What's funny is we talk to landscapers, and the process isn't great for them either. Conducting in-person estimates wastes 1 to 2 hours of unbillable time, and it can take $30 to $50, not including the opportunity cost. We talked to 19 out of 20 landscapers, and they said that there's so many pain points in this in-person process. Estimates aren't accurate. Likely it has to be the most senior person going to the house to conduct these estimates, and it really costs a lot of money and time.
To solve this problem, we came up with a really exciting solution that allows homeowners to receive instant estimates fully digitally. Our product utilizes a dynamic algorithm that takes many factors into account, such as lawn size, average household income, comparative quotes, and more. But above all, after talking to over 20 landscaping companies, we found out that the strongest driving cost is square footage, which is how we designed our MVP. Here is our working MVP that is fully functional. It follows an easy 3-step process where a homeowner will select the services they want, outline their lawn, and receive their instant estimate. We designed our solution to be fast and efficient because 80% of jobs go to the first bidder. Outside of just instant estimates though, at Accelerate, we are establishing a partnership with landscaping companies to provide further significant value. We offer services such as website creation, SEO, and chatbot features to our customers, and eventually, as we scale, these will become fully automated. Also with this, we are providing data insights for prospecting, like when it hasn't been sold in a specific area, and the recommended cost per square foot. This will hold a lot of value for our starting target customers who really need that help to get their product on the market.
Yeah, so we're selling our software directly to landscapers, but as Lee mentioned, we provide value for both landscapers and the homeowners. So there are roughly 650,000 landscaping companies in the United States, and 75% of these have 1 to 4 employees. We initially see our product being adopted by these smaller companies that are working in residential areas, taking into consideration that 10% of a company's costs come from giving quotes and targeting companies in the Northeast. That brings our serviceable obtainable market to roughly $2.5 million.
Taking a look at the competitive landscape, we pretty much categorized our competitors into 3 main categories. Number 1, you've got platforms like Angie's List that simply connect homeowners to landscapers. They really don't account for estimation though. Maybe there's a text box, but not really the estimation that we're targeting. You also have competitors like Pipeline, which are larger landscaping CRM tools. Once again, not really dedicated specifically for landscaping. Last, we've got companies that are trying to handle estimates, but generally they're targeting larger companies, and they're not providing that partnership that we provide to landscapers, bridging the gap between tech and landscapers, providing website creation, data insights, and really streamlining the process.
Yeah, so we're using a business-to-business SaaS model, where again we sell our software direct to landscaping companies. We're using a tiered subscription model just because we have some different solutions in our product that companies might want to customize their packages. And so our main costs consist of Google Maps API costs and the Firebase hosting and storage, and just those are the costs.
Taking a look at our go-to-market strategy, we're ready to launch our product. We've got a fully working MVP, and we're working with our design partner, WFD Landscaping, to get this product and deploy it onto the market. We want feedback. We want to see how our product works in real time. And so the goal is by mid-2025, let's have 5 live customers. Let's see how the product works so that way we can iterate, figure out which services are most valuable, and continue to develop and deploy our market. And once again, that's where our use of funds is going to go, is to getting those initial 5 pilot customers. Taking a look quickly at the team, that's Joe Carlucci there, one of my dear friends. He's a computer science and finance major. He's also worked in the landscaping industry. He's got that experience. Liam's really helped with a lot of the development of this product. He's a software engineer. And I'm an entrepreneurship major, so I bring some of that startup expertise. We're also working with Professor Mark Doxer. He's here today. Thank you, Mark. We're super excited to have you. He works here at DeMoore McCann. He's an innovation and entrepreneurship professor, a lot of startup and executive leadership expertise, and he's been invaluable to our company. Overall, we're super excited about Accelerate. We're excited to get our product on the market, and we're excited to really help make a difference in the landscaping industry. Thank you so much. Happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys, for all the energy with this presentation. I have a question on sort of how scalable are these data insights that you are providing with this algorithm across landscaping companies of different sizes, and which insights are they finding most valuable?
Yeah, so in terms of the data insights, we're working to help landscapers provide that algorithm. So we're not creating that algorithm, but instead we're providing insights like, hey, when was a house sold in that area, right? That's easily accessible information you can get online, and that's really helpful to know when there's some new person living in the house, they need a new landscaper. So that kind of data is really helpful. And we can also provide data on, average household income. Stuff like that can inform how much you want to charge per square foot, right? You might want to charge a mansion in a really rich area a little bit more than maybe another competitor. And so those data insights help inform the algorithm.
$99 a month is a lot of money for a small business. So I'm trying to convince me that this makes sense.
Yeah, I can take that one. So in a single quote, like let's say they're paying one worker out there, they're paying them $15 an hour. Let's say it takes 2 hours, that's $30 right there. Let's say they could have been going and doing work on an actual house, like doing landscaping service. That's maybe another $20 that they just missed out on. That brings one quote to $70. Let's say they make 5 quotes a month, they're like extremely small, just starting out as a landscaping company. If we give them just 5 quotes, that's already covering the cost for our higher tier. Based on the value that we believe that we're providing companies, those prices are actually 5% of the value that we believe we're providing.
My question is just how much can they spend, and also how willing are they, the heads of these 4 or 5 person landscaping companies in terms of tech adoption of this nature?
Yeah, we talked to a bunch of small landscaping companies, and they're really excited about this. I had to talk to a landscaper's son because the landscaper didn't actually speak any English. And so to have someone who's taking care of things like just generate a website and create some leads for me, they're super excited about that potential. They know that they need to get into kind of social media. Some landscapers maybe use Facebook, that's a big platform, but they're really excited to get on the internet, have a website, and be able to provide these estimates. So that's generally what they're excited about. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Accelerate. Great pitch. We're moving pretty fast. We're almost halfway through presentations now. How's everyone feeling? Get the energy up!
Creating unforgettable dining experiences. Let's hear it for them.
Hello everyone, my name is Raj.
And I'm Arnav.
And we're here to introduce PlateMate. And to show you why this is important, let's get started by going back to my high school days when I used to work at a Mexican restaurant. And that was a great place. The food was great, the people were great. But one of the things that I noticed is that every time that manager would make a decision, I would ask him, why are we making a decision? And he could only come up with 2 words, trust me. And unfortunately last year, the restaurant closed down.
So we see that Raj's restaurant's experience is not uncommon. To my left, you'll see some of the restaurants that have closed down just this year. If you're from the area, you'll probably notice at least a couple of these names. And in Boston, just in the last year, over 175 restaurants closed their doors. And so when you look at the restaurant industry as a whole, over 20% of restaurants closed their doors year over year. And so we asked, why is this happening? We went into the real world and interviewed a bunch of current and former business owners, or restaurant business owners. And what we found was kind of staggering. A lot of these restaurants had 2 main sentiments. One is that they did a lot of their decision-making based on, as one restaurant owner put it, just guesswork. And then the second was they're overworked. Owning a restaurant is super hard, and they don't really have time to do a lot of the things that they need to do.
So after talking to restaurants, we noticed that there's 3 main facets to this problem. The first being fragmented channels of feedback. Restaurants have so many different softwares that they use in their daily workflows that it simply becomes too much information for them to go through and parse. And the second facet is the fact that it's very difficult to assess authenticity of a review. Even if someone has the ability to go through thousands of reviews, it's very difficult to actually extrapolate value from a single review and see how you can use that to improve your daily workflow. And all of the current solutions currently in the market have a lack of actionable insights. They basically are only able to provide insights on the data that they're collecting, and they're unable to go further, but only give trends and raw data to restaurants. And this leads to losses of revenue for restaurants and lower satisfaction rates for their customers. So the solution we've come up with is Plateme, which is an AI-driven web platform that will integrate restaurant software and feedback channels to deliver clear, actionable analytics to restaurant owners.
So with Plateme, gone are the days where a restaurant owner will have to sift through thousands of reviews from different platforms or go through pages and pages of just raw data. With Plateme, we provide just the top-level important metrics and trends so that these restaurant owners can see at a high level what is important. From there, we also provide, as Raj said, actionable insights. These are things that, based off of the raw data and customer feedback, restaurants can actually change to make their restaurant improve and improve customer satisfaction. For example, we've all been to a restaurant where maybe the food's too salty or too soggy, and that comes through in the reviews. Plateme is going to tell the restaurant, hey, maybe this is something that you need to improve so that we'll keep customers coming back, right? We found that only 10% of customers are likely to come back to a restaurant after having a bad experience. So we're trying to eliminate those bad experiences for restaurants so that they're driving customers back, not driving them away. So in terms of our competitors, they're kind of in two buckets, right? We have competitors that can give qualitative data. This is your kind of your point of sale system, those raw data that we talked about, right? We have Toast and Square over there. In terms of other competitors, we have competitors that can give qualitative data. So that's your Yelp, your Google reviews, other review platforms. But these competitors are siloed to just one platform. What we want to do at Plateme is combine multiple input streams as well as social media integration in order to provide those actionable insights that we're talking about. Not just data, right? Restaurant owners cannot sift through this data. They need things that they can change and actionable insights.
So this brings us to a revenue model, and we'll make money through using a subscription-based model. For a flat fee of $200, restaurants will be able to get full access to analytics. And through talking to restaurants, we've noticed that there's a bunch of different permutations of softwares that restaurants really use in order to keep their restaurant running. And for that, we have the idea of custom data integrations, because we want to make sure that every form of data is integrated within our platform to be able to provide the best insights to our users. So that will be provided for an extra fee. And we also have a free trial to make sure that restaurants can actually see the value that Plateme will drive to their restaurant before actually signing on with us. And this will bring us to the market size. And if we look at the United States as a whole, there's about $2.1 billion in the total available market. If we niche this down just to the Northeast, we can see about 480. And for phase one of our target, we want to hit underperforming restaurants in the Boston area, which will give us about 1.5 million as a service obtainable market.
Kind of going off of that, our first phase will be to work with our design partners. We already have one wonderful design partner that's agreed to adopt our software, and we'll be working with them to make the best possible insight and the best possible platform, right? Iteratively designing and making the perfect solution for them, which increases their return on investment. From there, we'll look to expand into Boston, right? That serviceable table market that Raj talked about. Expand into Boston, show them, hey, this is what we did for Sarga, this is what we can do for you. From there, we'll continue to geographically expand into the Northeast and the rest of the United States. I'm Arnav, I'm the CEO.
And I'm Raj, I'm the CTO.
We have a wonderful design partner, Sarga Indian Cuisine. Go check them out, they're on Newbury. And we have a wonderful advisor, Ananya, who has plenty of experience in entrepreneurship. And we're super excited to bring this product to life. We've been working on this for 2 years with multiple iterations. We've talked to countless customers and countless restaurants, and we have a great understanding of what needs to be done to fix this problem so that restaurants no longer need to shut their doors. Thank you.
You can talk about Indian food and I'll bring us a sample. It's 7:30 p.m. in the evening. So I love the actionable data work. I think that stuck with me. So everything is actionable data. I used to work in the restaurant industry. Trust me, I have the same problem. how often do you generate the data? And if I were an owner, how do I read that data? Because the dashboard that you showed me looked a little bit intimidating if I don't have at least a Northeastern undergraduate degree.
So what we're really focusing on is those actionable insights, right? So that's the main, right in the middle, the actionable insights. Before that, we have just some raw data, a high level, right? Much better than what our pain point is, which is pages and pages of just raw data, right? Just top level trends. And from the actionable insights, you'll see you can go to view all and then either accept or deny those actionable insights. And based off of whether the restaurant accepts them, we can then see, okay, did this make a difference? Did it not improve our actionable insights? We're really looking to focus, again, on our actionable insights. When we interviewed with restaurants, again, we found that this was a view that resonated with them, but again, we have a design partner. We're looking to iteratively design, see what resonates with them the best. Oh, yes, sorry. So we found that really restaurant owners looked at either a bi-weekly, weekly to bi-weekly, or monthly basis. So that's what we're looking for.
Quick question on the sort of integration front, like what integrations with current sort of solutions that they're using would you need for your MVP, and then you sort of confirm the feasibility of these integrations?
Yeah, so basically we'll be using a bunch of the APIs for much of the qualitative side of things, such as the Yelp API, Google Maps API, and all of those. And in terms of the POS systems, we talking with a bunch of customers, we realized that there are reports that are generated weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, currently by all of these POS systems, and all of this data can be sort of parsed through our model, and then we can use that to sort of find trends in the quantitative data, and then use the trends that we find in this quantitative data, and then using the qualitative data that we're collecting, we can sort of find ways to fix this. And we're going to do this through using a deep learning model, which will be with reinforced learning. And Sarva is one of our design partners who's currently using this model. So as they continue to use it, it will get better and better, and then we can then deploy it to other restaurants in the area.
We're really looking to provide that feedback on not just that a dish isn't working, but why it's working and what a restaurant can do to fix that. Really, that's the important key that we're providing.
My question is, how many restaurant owners have you talked to right now, and what is kind of their average spend on POS systems or systems of this nature, given the razor thin margins of the industry on the whole? Like, can they even afford another solution like this without, believing that you have the ROI before seeing it?
So, like we said, we're working with a design partner first, and we'll be providing that free trial. So that's how we'll see that return on investment, right? $200, I think we had one quote actually. We had one quote from a restaurant owner that said, hey, we need to hire someone to be able to do this, and we don't have the funds for that. But $200 to a restaurant is maybe 12 hours of minimum wage work. So per month, that's really valuable to them. Does that answer your question? Thank you. Any other questions? We're happy to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Playmate. I hope you keep my favorite restaurants open.
Yeah.
So now Clara will walk us through how they are changing the way in which we navigate insurance.
Hi guys, I'm Andrew, and this is my company, Clara. When I interviewed small business owners, one story stuck out to me. Benjamin Whiteman sold custom clothing, and all he knew about his insurance was he got a really good deal on it. But when his warehouse burned down, he found out that his $1 million of inventory wasn't covered. This is pretty common for small businesses because a lot of them buy the insurance when they're starting out, and they don't scale their coverage as they grow. This can be especially devastating in states with really severe weather like Florida, where according to McKinsey, 60% of small businesses were in the path of Hurricane Milton. And of the top 10 costliest hurricanes, 5 in the last decade. To put that adjusted cost into perspective of them, that's greater than the combined market caps of Disney World and Amex. So the solution is to go to www.claro.insure. That's a real site that you can go to right now that allows insurance agents to be reviewed and to put their certifications and experience in one place that's easy for a buyer to see.
The most successful agents are deeply networked individuals, right? They have a big presence maybe in their local board, they're friends with real estate brokers, lenders, financial advisors, and they have a host of other agents that they refer business to and that refer business to them. This is the opportunity for them to display all of that in one easy-to-see place. And what it also means is that each agent brings a network to the platform, which in turn brings with it a bigger network, creating an atomic opportunity for exponential growth. So if you've ever done business with a small practice like a dentist or a lawyer, you'll recognize this. A lot of them are too focused on their clients to spend time on their business needs, like insurance. These small businesses are the backbone of the American economy, as you can see right here. On the other side of our platform are the insurance agents. Well, what you told me really resonated. In this business, your name is all you've got. That ties back to how proud good agents are of their network and connections. Like everything we buy today, insurance is rapidly moving online to the internet. Unfortunately, many agents are lagging behind in creating a digital presence. This is the opportunity for them to continue to grow by meeting the new generation of buyers. So some agents use existing workarounds like LinkedIn, Yelp, or Google reviews. But the result for the consumer is that you have to do in-depth research to try and find someone that you might be able to trust. The online insurance marketplace mostly consists right now of direct writers or insurance providers. So if you're a small business looking for an independent advisor to help you, that's the kind of research and parsing you have to do through those online sources. Our business model. I want this to be free for agents to put their reviews on here to encourage Metcalf's law of growth. But if they want to put more than 50 on there, they can of course subscribe to that. But the real money lies in the billions of dollars that's poured into advertising, financial services, and insurance. Facebook charges about $27 per 1,000 impressions for their insurance ads. We can command a higher premium of $60 because we're in a premium ad space since people come to our website are directly interested in buying insurance. So what do Geico, State Farm, Progressive, and Liberty Mutual all have in common? Every person in this room recognized every single one of those names. You probably also thought of the Geico, Flow for Progressive. You probably also know that, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. This proves the massive investment that these brands pour into building up that brand awareness and how we will be a premium platform for them to be able to do that. So why am I the perfect person for this job? Well, I have 4 years of experience consulting solely in the insurance brokerage space. That's what's allowed me to build up that network right there of agents and business owners that I've been able to interview one-on-one to understand their pain points and problems and what makes a good agent versus bad agent. It also means that I have a high-quality network of agents to be able to handpick initially and bring onto the platform. But for me, insurance really started at the dinner table. My dad was one of the smartest people I know, and it might sound callous, but when I think of my dad, I think of insurance. And so for me, that makes this industry very close and personal. So what's next? Well, I want to integrate features for viral growth and retention, like allowing agents to repost their reviews in LinkedIn and vice versa. And I want consumers to return to the platform so that way they can review their policy details and stay in contact with their agent. Once we've really refined and perfected that as a winning formula, we can apply to things like lawyers, real estate agents, and financial advisors, so you can find qualified people for those needs as well. I'd love to answer any questions you might have.
Hi, you look like a CEO, you talk like a CEO. Now convince me like a CEO. I used to work in insurance. I had 19 different jobs before I became a professor, so I spent a couple of years in insurance. And I have to say insurance agents have a really bad rap. We are sleazy, we are liars, we take advantage of a lot of things. I understand why this platform would help your agents, but why would it help the regular customers? Because if the agent can pull out their own reviews, isn't that a little bit of a manipulation?
Yeah, right. So it's really important to me, first of all, that agents can't manipulate the reviews that are on the platform. They can, of course, encourage reviews by sending out review links to their customers, so that way they can get that feedback. But if you want to review your agent, you can do so anonymously, as long as you provide proof of purchase to us, like your receipt.
In these network-oriented businesses, I often worry about the chicken and the egg problem, where are we going to have enough agents on board or enough customers on board to make it valuable for either side? And I think your market sort of, the funnel that you use to show that 15, you send emails to 15 people, and you got some 12 email conversations, 9 Zoom conversations. Can you talk about, did you know these people before? Were they friendlies, or were they just, with this call outreach?
You talking about that chart right there? Yeah, so these are people that I've just known from my work experience, and I've had them also refer me to other people that they know. And you absolutely hit the nail on the head, right? The network product, that first initial network is super important. There's this book that talks about it called the Cold Start Problem by Henry Chen. Really good, and I learned a lot of the strategy from there. So that's why it's so important that those first agents use the chicken and the egg problem, right? Those first agents need to be ones that are handpicked to be high quality, and they need a large contact list so that way they can pull in reviews and other people's platforms. So once we get the chicken there, or the egg, whatever, right? It's valuable already to the other side.
So when I heard this, my brain, in terms of the business model, went right to you were going to make money through referrals, inbound through good, hey, this is a great insurance broker, refer them directly and get monetization that way. Explain to me why you're going with the freemium and ad model versus referring people to insurers and getting compensated that way.
Yeah, so that's kind of the existing model that hasn't worked out well for similar stuff like this, right? They're called lead brokers, right, in the insurance brokerage industry. And one thing that a lot of the agents mentioned, they said lead lists were expensive and typically low quality, right? So by having this be a freemium, it's actually something that's just valuable for the consumer to go here because it's valuable, period, right? And that actually ensures a much higher quality of leads to the agent. It makes it less expensive to the agent because it's premium, and because it builds out that network, it introduces far more ways for us to be able to monetize that because it's such a presence on the platform. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Clara, for an amazing pitch.
Next, Grade Scout is every student's academic ally, making it easy to track, manage, and improve grades because progress should be as clear as the goal.
Greetings, judges. Today I'm going to talk to you about my EdTech startup, Grade Scout. Judges, imagine you're a high school student. It's almost the end of the marking period, and you want to know what grade you need on your last test in your hardest class to finish with an A before the end. So you log on to your school-provided grade portal, and you're dealing with all these different numbers, and you plug them all into your calculator while trying to figure out how on earth your school calculates grades anyway. And after about 30 minutes of wasted time, you can only hope the answer you got is correct. And this is unfortunately how it is for most middle and high school students in our country, but it doesn't need to be that way. The reason why it is that way is because the companies that produce these grade portals aren't focusing on those as their primary problem. Their real consumer is the schools who are depending on them for faculty-facing data management solutions. And the grade portal is typically just part of the contract. This is where Grade Scout comes in. Grade Scout reads data off of existing grade portals to provide students with an entirely different user experience which has the features which they need to succeed. For example, Grade Scout has an amazing feature called What If, which most of our students love, or most of our users rather. So with What If, users can simulate adding, editing, or removing assignments with a click of a button. They can edit any number they see on the page, and they can instantly see the projected change in their class average. Furthermore, we have instant automatic GPA estimation, which is also based off of the live data within their grade portal, and this is also tailored to the specific school district that the user is within. So it's very accurate and saves them a lot of time in terms of manual calculations. Judges, Grade Scout is more than just an idea. I launched Grade Scout more than 2 years ago when I realized how many other students like myself in high school were facing issues with their school-provided grade portals. In that time, we obtained the data that we need to prove our viability. We've had over 75,000 all-time users, and right now we're seeing around 10,000 monthly active users and around 9.5 minutes of average engagement time. Additionally, you're probably wondering who exactly is using Grade Scout. Typically, it's students in grades 6 through 12 who are in academically competitive environments and they need a solution to keep track of their performance. And we recently did a survey of over 200 of our users, and we found that 61% say they use Grade Scout once or more per day. And a mind-boggling 98% say they discovered Grade Scout through their peers. Now, this is amazing because it shows that Grade Scout is a daily necessity for these students, and it spreads organically like wildfire. Looking at competitors, there aren't a lot of identical products out there, but you could look at, for example, like online grade calculator websites and stuff, and typically these frankly suck, because the students have to enter all of the information manually. It's a huge time-consuming process, and the output they get is wrong, because these websites don't have the actual formulas which the schools use to calculate the grades. So we have a huge advantage over those types of applications. And then looking at the actual companies which produce the grade portals themselves, you have to remember that their customer is not the student. The student is not their primary interest. They're they're investing all their R&D towards these data management solutions for the faculty, and the student is of secondary interest. And they, as a result, are not so interested in rapidly prototyping the features that we're able to implement. They typically have outdated tech stacks, which also prevent them from rapidly prototyping, and they don't have the direct engagement that we have with the student community. We are much more approachable. We have a public face versus all these big companies. They just aren't as much of a listening ear for these students. Looking at our pricing, we're thinking a subscription freemium model, similar to a lot of other edtech apps in the space. Typically, parents are going to be paying on behalf of the students, and we think the parents are going to see it as an opportunity to improve their child's own academic performance, the same way they would, for example, if they were paying for Quiz Plus or Khan Academy, which is Khan Academy's AI solution. And so you just have to return for several years at a time. So we think the subscription model is most optimal here. And looking at our market valuation, so we looked at our home state of New Jersey, which is where we're based in right now, and we took all the grades 6 through 12 students, and then filtered by academic competitiveness, which is related to standardized testing, and then we filtered even further, saying, okay, let's capture only a certain percentage of this group, and then we filtered again, saying only a certain percentage is going to pay based off the survey results. And even with all of those filters, we're looking at around $756,000 projected annual income in just that very niche group. And if we expand outwards to the broader United States using similar statistics, we can look at around $17.8 million annual income. That's charging around $5 per month. And more broadly, the US consumer edtech market is valued at around $42.3 billion. Looking at our go-to-market plan, within the next few months, we want to officially incorporate the organization, and we want to start monetizing our product, gain even more validation, and start building capital to expand further. And within 6 months, we want to continue developing within New Jersey, but see it as a trial ground to expand the borders to other states, other great platforms, etc. And within 1.5 years, or perhaps much less, we could be launching production ready in other states, and we could really push the boundaries, potentially even opening up new product avenues. And co-founders, my name is Troy. I'm a first year at Northeastern studying CS in business. I oversee pretty much all of the operational tasks as well as some of the development. My co-founder, Aisha, is back in New Jersey. He's also studying CS as well as economics as a minor. And it took us just 2 weeks to build our current product. And within 1 month, we had our first 10,000 users. So just imagine what we could do with your help. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you very much, Troy. Awesome work on sort of getting that kind of traction. I have a question on sort of willingness to pay for, this is a super useful tool, I can see myself using it as a student. I have a question on sort of willingness to pay, and also that, so can you tell me about how you get those 200 survey respondents? Did you send it to all users and 200 responded, and of those 27% said that they paid for this?
Yeah, so basically it was an in-app survey. It was a pretty long survey, so we weren't expecting a super high turnout. Out of the respondents, 27% of those 200 or so said yes, they would be willing to pay. And also it should be noted that we are working on a rewrite currently, which will have a lot more features which aren't shown in this presentation. Keep in mind, the grade board provides a lot more information than just the grades themselves. For example, like attendance records or like documents and a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of potential to add features which aren't going to be modeled.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My question is along those lines as well. Thinking about parents paying for, their students to want to be better academically. Like, I'm not sure that's the right business model, but have you chatted with those parents who are saying that? Have you chatted with the schools to see if they'll do this for their students for continued engagement better than their current existing portals? Because it's a huge market. I used to.
Yeah, so I
follow my Excel sheets to figure it out. So I get it, but tell me more about why this is your business model versus freemium with ads or another app.
Well, yeah, to be clear, yes, it is freemium with ads. Just talking about both the parent side and the school side separately. First with the parents. I come from a community in New Jersey that is very, very academically competitive, huge immigrant community, and all the parents want their child to be the best. And they're paying hundreds of dollars per hour for some expensive tutors, for example. And Grade Scout is something that their students will use on a daily basis. And if they're willing to pay hundreds of dollars for tutors, expensive tutors, or textbooks, or other online resources, I think $5 a month for Grade Scout, considering the amount of time saved for their child, is worth it. And I've talked to primarily students, mostly because I was in high school when I was developing it, but I've talked to parents as well, and gotten feedback from parents, and they say it's amazing, because they see their child succeeding because of the services that we're able to provide. Now, with regard to these schools, our school district did not have so much interest in working with implementing this technology. Neither did the grade portal, which we build on top of right now. So speaking of which, that grade portal actually doesn't have like an API that we're reading off of. Because they're so closed off and the technology is so limited, we're actually scraping off of that. But it's proved to be pretty viable. And these both the grade portals and the schools, they don't want to fix what isn't broken. So in their view, if it works, it works. And it doesn't need to be improved from their point of view. Because their data is being managed properly, the faculty are having an okay-ish experience, so they're just not as interested in the student's point of view. And that's where we want to step in. Thank you.
You're a freshman, Troy?
Yes, I'm a freshman at high school.
Damn. Wow. I hope to see you in my class as a TA, because I don't want you as my student. You're very, very intimidating. So, as a faculty, what do I do with this? How does it affect me? Are students and parents going to come and chase me because what your Grade Scout promised them, it's not going to be what I do? If I grade on a curve, how do I deal with that? So this, as a faculty, scares me a little bit. Give me reassurance.
Sure. Yeah. So of course, there's a lot of different edge cases when it comes to grading, right? But the good thing is that we're able to research all of those because the way they're displayed in the grade portal is typically standardized. So we can look up the manuals and the documentation for the grade portal that we're providing services on top of. We can see what they look like in that grade portal, and we can write our program to be able to read those edge cases off of it. For example, even if in the what-if calculator, it accounts for things like weight multipliers or like lowest grades drop for certain categories. All of those are accounted for, and as a result, the grade prediction is much more accurate. In terms of how it would affect you as a faculty, typically it would not be as much of a daily interest to you. It's more for the students to keep track of what they need to be doing within like the next couple weeks in terms of planning their academics, planning their study. And I've actually heard from students sometimes, it points out sometimes that the faculty made a mistake by accident. Like I heard recently somebody, just a small thing, but somebody had a grade put in that was 10 out of 100 instead of 100 out of 100. And they noticed that instantly because Grade Scout provides notifications versus the actual grade portal doesn't. So little things like that, I think would actually improve both the faculty experience and the student experience. Faculty being able to understand or quickly notice things that have gone wrong, students being able to better plan out their academics.
Can I suggest for your next stage you actually talk to faculty?
Of course, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now Joda, our last mentor for tonight, will tell us how it's helping people take a seat for success, one chair at a time. Thank you, Joda.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Arnold McCamera.
And I'm Ali Falahi, and we're co-founders of Joda. So before we start, I want to do a little experiment. And I want everyone in this crowd, on the count of 3, to just sit up straight and fix your posture. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
All right, so I saw a lot of people adjusting their posture. Now, we've only been sitting down in this room for an hour or so not a big deal. But let's just take a second to think about the fact that there's over 1 billion people in the world today that spend their entire workday sitting down. And because they're so locked in and focused on their work, they don't pay attention to their posture, and they end up spending most of their day slouched, hunched over, and develop bad posture habits. And this is normal. I'm guilty of this. However, as we all know, there are consequences. Sitting with bad posture leads to fatigue, neck and back pain, and it reduces your productivity. And if you do this for decades, you'll end up developing chronic back problems, which will lead to further health complications. And this is a major reason why back problems alone cost the U.S. healthcare system $120 billion annually. And so when we conducted a customer interview, we found that over 50% of people admitted to having bad posture. However, the reality is people are not going to stop sitting down while they work. Even people with standing desks still spend a majority of their day sitting down. And we know we can't reinvent how people work. And so we need to find a way to help people pay attention to their posture while they are sitting down and working.
So our solution is Core Seat. It is a smart seat cover with an array of proximity sensors built into it that can monitor your posture from your neck all the way down to your hips. And through our mobile app, you could be notified when you have bad posture to fix it. It will train you to improve your posture habits over time, and it will let you track your progress in whatever form of bad posture you may have. Because we have all this information about the types of bad posture you may have, we could give you personalized insights and workouts on how to improve the muscles that may be responsible for your bad posture. In addition, we can send you reminders to take breaks every 30 minutes to an hour or so you don't get fatigued throughout the day. So we developed an MVP here, and you can see it's made the capacitive sensors are made of conductive fabric, so they'll be soft and comfortable. But across all these different forms of bad posture that we wanted to detect, we were able to get 90% accuracy with 41 trials with different people.
And so how have people tried to address the posture problem? So when we look at our competitors, we see that they all come in the form of wearables. We have stiff posture bases, which are a hassle to put on, they're annoying, and they actually weaken your muscles the more you wear them. And then we have posture monitoring wearable devices that are designed to be small. However, because of this, they only measure your posture at a single point. And this inevitably fails to capture all the different types of bad posture a user can have. And so what makes Core Seat stand out is that it's able to capture almost all types of bad posture a user can have while being comfortable and easy to use. But more importantly, when it comes to these wearables, you constantly have to remember to put them on, take them off, charge them, not lose them. Yuck! Excuse my French. And so, yes. Oh, and so Core Seat does not rely on the user having this kind of discipline. You install Core Seat on your personal chair, and every single morning, the second you wake up and sit down, it immediately starts working and delivering all its benefits.
So what are we planning to actually deliver to the customers? Well, a first-time product is going to be the Core Seat cover that we just talked about. At scale, we can manufacture this down to $15 per piece, and our customers throughout our interviews have told us that they would be willing to pay about $120 for this. Now, our second line is going to be to take the technology that makes the seat cover and embed that into chairs by partnering with chair manufacturers. And then, once we make these smart chairs, we can take a cut of their sales.
And so what is the market opportunity? So we know there's 1.4 billion people today that have sedentary jobs, and based on our customer surveys, let's assume 56% of them have bad posture habits. That means that there's 780 million people in the world today that have a problem that we can solve. Now, if we focus on Western countries, and more specifically focus on white-collar workers that are between the ages of 25 and 50, we're looking at a SAM of around 170 million people. If we can capture 3% of that market, we're looking at 5 million customers, which is a $500 million opportunity.
So how are we actually planning to reach our target audience? Well, our target audience is white-collar workers, ages 25 to 50, and well, of course, there are other markets, but this is the primary one that we've identified who would get the most benefit out of it. So first, we plan to put content on posture and wellness on our website through blog posts as well as social media channels, and that will help us drive traffic to our web store, so we'll be selling first direct to consumers. And to specifically get to workers at companies, we could actually provide promo offers to employers to give out to their employees so that they get a discount. And also, we'll have an affiliate marketing campaign. But most importantly, throughout our interviews, the customers, which is most of the customers who are in that category, told us that if they could pay for Core Seat through their HSA and FSA funds, it would be a no-brainer to purchase this. So we'll be working to get certified for that. And then after that, we'll be exploring B2B avenues to sell directly to companies, and also launching our embedded shares. So where are we right now? We've developed the hardware and electronics and tested them. We're working on developing the app, and today we launched our waitlist. So with the help of the HSC funds, as well as the Idea Gap Fund that we'll be applying for in spring, we'll be able to manufacture our first roughly 300 units, and first get 30 beta testers to finalize our app, and then with the goal of getting 300 users by the end of 2025. From there, we'll be launching, we'll be expanding our marketing to get 3,000 users by the end of 2026. At that point, we'll need to raise likely $2 million to really scale up our production and marketing and get into the B2B avenues.
And so Ali and I became best friends back in our undergrad, where we developed Coursey, and since then we've gone on to pursue our PhDs here at Northeastern in bioengineering. And along the way, we've developed a broad range of technical and leadership skills. We've also brought together an amazing team of advisors that each brings their own set of expertise to our mission. We have Dr. David Howe, who's going to help us conduct the research studies to determine the health benefits of Coursey. We have Farzad Gazashi, who has extensive experience when it comes to mass marketing and distribution, both in the US and in China. He's also going to get us in direct contact with chair manufacturing companies for the Coursey Embedded. And we have Molnaz, who's currently helping us develop the user interface of our app. And finally, we have Professor Kevin Karplus, who has helped guide us through the process of hardware development and testing. And he also has experience in bringing consumer electronic products to market.
So thank you for your attention to our pitch and your own posture. Our waitlist is up now. If you're interested, you can join it now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Curious, is the novel aspect of this, is it the actual sensors that you developed in-house, or is it more the data play here? I'm just trying to figure out why or why not the chair manufacturers, for example, wouldn't do this themselves with the manufacturing capabilities to this at scale. So can you tell me just a little bit about, your patents or whatever it is that really makes it that it's you guys versus just anyone else that wants to do this?
Yeah. So it's a great question. We kept this hush-hush from 5 years ago when we developed the actual core technology. But basically, because we're using capacitive proximity sensors, you have one conductive plate, which is one side of your sensor, and the other side is your body. That's how actually the touch screens in smartphones work. So why haven't they done it? We've seen some attempts at putting pressure sensors in chairs, but those have not made it anymore because pressure sensors are really expensive to use. Here, we have literally a piece of conductive fabric that we cut out. So the cost of production is going to be really cheap, and I don't know why nobody else has thought of it.
And just to add to that, we are going to file IP with the University Law School, so that is also the plan to start.
Awesome, thank you.
Could you talk to me about the $120 willingness to pay that y'all mentioned? Like, how do y'all arrive at that number? The $120 that y'all mentioned as the willingness to pay for this kind of a chair through the market research. How did y'all arrive at this number?
Yeah, that's a great question.
So we kind of just talk to customers and identify who had the problem, and then we expose our solution. And at the end of it, we're like, okay, how much would you be willing to pay for this? And we averaged the number of $120.
And also, if we can add something too, I feel like when people are paying to improve their health, they're willing to put down money. So I think just the idea of putting down over $100 on a device that's supposed to improve your wellness and health, I think that incentivizes people more to take advantage of it and actually use it. So that's also rational.
Does that answer your question?
Is this mobile? Not the chair, the seat cover.
It is mobile in the sense that you can detach it, go install it on another chair. Of course, that's you wouldn't use it if you were doing this every day. But yeah, you can detach it from one chair and put it on another if you plan to move on a new chair.
Okay. Thank you.
Joda, that wraps up our pitches for tonight. All of our founders were amazing, but now we want to know who was your favorite. We're about to open up the audience favorite QR code, so cast your vote in the next 5 minutes. This will determine the winner of the audience favorite award.
And please, if you're voting, make sure you're registered for the event on Luma. We have a cross-checking, so if you vote more than once, your vote will be canceled. And judges will leave for deliberation now, so we'll keep this up for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then we'll move on. Thank you. The judges will be back after 2 to 3 minutes. They're just deliberating a little longer. So thank you. Wait up for a couple of minutes. to all the attendees who came out here on your Wednesday night. I know you want to go home and sleep, it's getting late, so thank you all for being here and participating. And without further ado, we'll get to the awards. So now the moment we've all been waiting for, the announcement of our winners. This year we have 6 different prizes, so we're going to start with the GOAT Award today. The GOAT Award goes to the student and the founder who has shown the most dedication through all their boot camps, building sessions, and engaging with our director community as well as Entrepreneurs Club. They've put in a lot of extra time. They've asked for feedback outside of the scheduled hours. They've really gone above and beyond to get to where they are right now. So this year, I'm excited to introduce the GOAT Award for Joda.
So we will now invite Sophia from our social media team to present our social media challenge.
So the social media challenge allows our founders to basically express their ventures creatively throughout like a 1-minute Instagram video that we feature on our Instagram, which if you're not following, NEU_eClub. But we basically tallied up the comments, engagement, likes, and views, and I'm happy to announce that the Social Media Challenge Award goes to Great Scout.
Next, I'm happy to introduce Alex, the co-director of Engage, to share our audience favorite award.
So if you guys remember that quick little survey we just did, you guys chose the winner of this award, and the winner of our audience favorite goes to, drumroll please, Playmates.
And now for the exciting 3 top places for this year. We're going to do 3rd place first, so I'm excited to bring Manvi and Bianca to share our 3rd place winner.
Okay, so the 3rd place winner is Leaf Guardian!
Yeah, the whole team's up. place is going to be introduced by our co-vice presidents, Alice and Sia.
Hi everyone, we're super excited to announce that the second place of Fall 2024 Husky Startup Challenge is, drumroll please. Great job, congratulations.
And for our exciting first place winner of tonight, let's give a big drum roll right now. Thank you to Aurora Health Tech. Thank you to everyone who came out today. I really appreciate all of your time and energy. Thank you to all the founders who put on a great show tonight. Every single one of you did amazing. Thank you for coming out and sharing your experiences with the rest of us.
Thank you all.
If you guys want to get photos, come here and stick around. Thank you.
Thank you, judges.